You're listening to the Coloring Book Creator Podcast, episode 43. And in this episode, I'm asking the question everyone listening should be asking themselves. Do you have a vision for your creative business for 2024 and why you need one? So stay tuned. Welcome back and welcome to a brand new year. We are now into 2024 and the first episode of the new year. Glad to be back with you after the holidays. I hope that you had a safe and enjoyable holiday season. But now it's, again, the new year and we're getting back to it. I spent a lot of time thinking about the new episode I want to open the year with. And I felt this topic was really an important one and a timely one to go into because, this is a time of year when a lot of us start thinking about goals and setting resolutions and things of that nature. And I personally have never been a fan of setting resolutions because typically when we set a resolution, for most of us, if you're anything like me, you might be setting a resolution or whatever you're thinking about, or maybe a goal. And then pretty much by the end of the first week or two, definitely by the end of the first month of the year, you've completely forgotten about all of that. So for me personally, I know from personal experience that typically resolutions and goals like that at this time of the year especially really don't work. They're just not motivating enough. But what is motivating and what I've been learning myself, especially in the last couple of years in particular, is a vision is far more valuable than setting resolutions and goals. A vision is something that is rooted in what you really spend time thinking about. You spend time actually pondering and giving attention to what it is that you really want to create and what's really important to you from a core level. And when you get really clear about that vision is something that it feeds your soul. You feel it at a soul level. And when you reach it from that perspective, then the decisions and the actions that you take, which are the things that we set resolutions and goals about, we're not focusing on goals and resolutions. We're focusing on actions that we either are or are not taking based on the vision that we set for ourselves. That's the reason why I wanted to start the year off talking about vision, because most of us don't really think about vision. And if we're not thinking about it, we can't really create one. One of the things I started doing about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer, when I created the Coloring Book Creator Mentor Program, was I gave all of my members a vision journal. It's a physical book that I gave them. And in that, the book was broken into two parts. One was on getting clarity about the year before, and then getting clarity about what was important for them going into the new year. And I gave prompts and things that would encourage thinking about and writing down things that were important for them, not just from a business perspective, but for the totality of their life and their experience. And then the second half of the journal, what I call Biz Planner, is a monthly action guide for steps that need to be taken every month in order to reach the goals that they had for their publishing business. So last year was the first time I did this, and I recently decided to update that vision journal and biz planner for 2024. And I'll be talking more about how you can get your hands on a copy if you're interested in that in a moment. I love a good journal. I love writing things down. I'm a thinker. I'm a writer. I like that a lot. This is what I like about writing things down, whether it's digital or physical pen and paper. When you write it down, you're getting it out of your head and it's being documented somewhere where you can go back and reference it. I'm pretty much a fan of the digital format personally. But though I do like a physical book as well. But recently I was going through some notes for some of the things that I wrote, even as short as like 3 or 4 months ago, that really inspired me. And sometimes I will write things down and then kind of forget about it almost as fast as I wrote it. But I'll have these moments or these spurts of inspiration that'll just kind of hit me. And I can't help but documenting it some kind of way. And what I realized when I was going back through my notes as I was preparing for this episode of the show, I was actually kind of surprised at what I wrote. When I was reviewing what I wrote, I went back to the feelings I had the day I wrote those things down. And the feeling that came over me that was so much bigger than me just setting a random arbitrary goal. It was bigger than that. And in that moment when I wrote those things, I was in flow, in a place of inspiration, a true space of inspiration. And I felt that all again when I reread what I wrote. So I'm saying this to say that whether you do things digitally like I do, or whether you do it verbally, or not verbally, but you could do audio journaling too. I guess that's a possibility as well. Or you write it in a book. Writing down your vision is so important because, again, if you can set up the right environment for you to be able to do your journaling and your planning and all of that, you can access a part of yourself that you may not be able to access in your normal day-to-day experience. That's why I always recommend to find a place outside of your normal routine or normal environment. Maybe go to like a cool coffee shop in your neighborhood that maybe you don't even do coffee shops, but maybe you find a cool coffee shop in your neighborhood that you could go to. One of the things I personally enjoy doing, and I recommend everyone do this at some point in their life, is are there any cool hotels in your city or your town where you live in? And I would say go for something a little bit more higher end. It doesn't have to be the Four Seasons or the Ritz, but something a little bit more higher end, more inspiring. And you can go there and pretty much go to the restaurant and go have lunch or have coffee there, or whatever you decide to do. Put yourself in an environment or in a space where it's outside of what you would normally do, and use that time to do your journaling. Because I feel that when you change your environment, you change your perspective. And when you change your perspective, you're able to access a part of yourself that you might not be able to access if you're in your normal routine, like in your home office, for an example, where there's all sorts of distractions going on. I call it like a mini retreat, so to speak, and I'll talk more about retreats in a moment as well. So anyway, back to what I was saying a moment ago. Vision is really an inspiration in its truest sense. Vision is big picture thinking that impacts the totality of your life and not just one area of your life. It's not just about setting intentions for one thing, but it's for everything. And I feel that, especially again as creatives and those who are aspiring creative entrepreneurs, we can even be in the midst of what we're doing and forget why we're doing it. Or it can become such routine or so by rote that we forget why we're doing it. And sometimes what happens is that we create things that really weren't necessarily what we intended to create, because we never really set an intention. And that's the other reason why I feel that vision is so important. So I again invite you to really give this a lot of serious consideration as you are now in the new year. And I want to do something to support you. Now, depending upon when you're listening to this, if this is the first part of the year of 2024, I'm going to be hosting in my Facebook group what I'm calling Vision Week. And I'm going to be going live in the group pretty much every day, leading up to a 3-day virtual retreat I'm going to be doing that I'm calling Crafting Your Creative Future, a visionary retreat and roadmap for creative entrepreneurs. Now, in this retreat experience, we're going to be deep diving into the 3 key areas of setting a vision, biz plan, and an action plan to get going. So that's going to be the focus of the retreat itself. And with that, you are going to be getting a physical and a digital copy of my 2024 Vision Journal and Biz Planner. Again, it's going to be live coaching to fine tune your next profitable idea. It doesn't have to be about just a coloring book. It can be about anything that you create that you would like to monetize in 2024. So this brings into part of, I'm sharing a little bit of a sneak peek into my vision for 2024. One of those is I'm expanding beyond the coloring book creator. As a matter of fact, I'm making the announcement now is that the Coloring Book Creator podcast is going to be rebranded soon. Maybe as early as next month. It's going to be rebranded soon. And I'll be talking about that more shortly. But I am expanding my vision. Initially, when I started this was around the coloring book. And I created this podcast more specifically for members of my Coloring Book Creator Mentor program to sort of announce them or debut them in their new books. And what I've decided to do is to expand beyond coloring books and expand into other creative products and other services, like people who want to teach workshops or classes like I enjoy doing, maybe even starting paid membership communities, maybe setting up an online store, talking more about design and art making. And so again, it's something that is not a new vision for me. It's actually something that was a vision that I created about 12 years ago. And I feel like going back full circle, I'm circling back to the original vision that I had that I didn't even fully understand was a vision when I created it. So anyway, just wanted you getting like a little bit of a heads up about the direction of where everything is going. The podcast that you're listening to now will be rebranded probably in the next 30 days or so. And again, I'll be announcing that more on the next episode. So if you are initially thinking about a coloring book as one of your items in your product or services suite, and you want to expand beyond coloring books into other creative projects that you can productize and monetize, you definitely want to stay tuned to the podcast. Like I said, it'll still be the same channel you're listening to it at now. It'll just be renamed and rebranded. I'll be sharing more about that also in Vision Week that I'm hosting inside of the Facebook group. And I've got the link to that in the show notes as well. So just to be clear, there's going to be Vision Week. It's going to be starting this week at the time you're listening to this inside of my Facebook group and also on my YouTube channel. I'll put the links to everything in the show notes. If you're interested in joining us for the 3-day retreat, which is going to be a paid experience, that's going to be happening at the time I'm recording this. It'll be happening on January 17th, 18th, and 19th. And it will include access to all of the recordings from those 3 days of live coaching. You're going to be getting a physical and digital copy of the 2024 Vision Journal and Biz Planner. I'm going to be doing some fun things like I'm creating a personality and income aligned quiz to pinpoint your perfect profitable idea. And I'm also going to be providing you with a coupon code that you can apply towards any of my more advanced programs that I'm offering also in 2024. So if you'd like to know more about that, the retreat and everything, I invite you to text me 415-851-1222. And again, that's 415-851-1222. And in your text, say retreat. And I'll respond within 24 hours and I'll give you some more information about that experience and how to enroll in that if you'd like to join us. Again, that's on January 17th, 18th, and 19th. Also, I have the link in the show notes to join us in the Facebook group for Vision Week. This is a precursor to the 3-day retreat. So that one is going to be where I'm going to be picking a single focus topic every day and going live for anywhere from maybe 5 to maybe 20 minutes. And I'll be talking about various topics that support what I'm talking about here in the podcast. And then all roads leading to joining us for the live retreat. That's happening again, January 17th, 18th, and 19th. All righty. So with that said, I want to invite you to do something now. I invite you to either take out your phone if you have, like I have an Apple phone, so you can use that, maybe use Notes for an example, or you can just grab a notebook if you have already and just start giving yourself permission to journal and ask yourself this question. What is my vision? Not just my business, but for my life. And the best prompt I can give you today as you're listening is do a quick review of 2023. Ask yourself, what did I do that I want to do more of? What happened that I'd like to leave behind? Those are two really great prompts to start with. What did you do that you want to do more of in 2024? And what is something that you want to leave behind? And then as you start looking into 2024, you've already at least, because it all starts with knowing what you like, what you don't like, what you loved, what you would prefer not to, to do again. And what did you enjoy most? What would you like and to bring and magnify more of that in 2024? So that's one of the first prompts that I ask all of my society members to do in the planner journal that I gave them, is to do a review of the previous year so that you will at least have the first step in clarity about what you want to create in the new year. So I would suggest that you start with that. And then I suggest joining us inside the Facebook group. Again, I'll have the link in the show notes for Vision Week. And again, I'll be giving you more details about that when you join the group. And then from there, if you'd like to really do an intense deep dive and walk away from those 3 days with an action plan, clarity, really rooted in a vision of what you want to make in 2024. I can't recommend it enough. I really can't recommend it enough. I know from personal experience that vision will sustain you when goals and resolutions fail you. And the only reason why goals and resolutions fail you is because they're only rooted in something that doesn't have a deeper meaning for you. Because there are going to be times, there are going to be days when you're not always going to be feeling up to whatever the goal or resolution that you set. And typically, if it's not rooted in something deeper, it's easy to drop it. That's why resolutions and goals typically fall by the wayside within the first 3 weeks of the new year, because they're not rooted in something deeper. When you have something deeper that has real meaning for you, you will take actions that will support you going for that vision. And that's why vision is far more sustainable and far more desirable. So if you struggled in the past with goals and resolutions, I invite you to ascend to something bigger. And again, that the core of that is rooted in a clear vision for what you want. It's what is sustaining me. It is the thing that, again, I started journaling about years ago that I now honestly feel like I'm able to move into and step into fully in the new year. So again, it's not about whether or not you accomplish everything in 2024, but it's about knowing why you're doing what you're doing. And when you're clear about why you're doing what you're doing, that will keep you moving. That'll keep you in action, even if sometimes that action is to just take a step back to recharge and rejuvenate yourself. That's why I suggest changing environment from time to time to get new perspective about where you are and where you want to go. It's an ongoing journey. It's not a one-hit deal. Okay? So anyway, with that said, I will have all the links in the show notes. If you decide to join the Facebook group, you will see a post in there where I show you like a little demo of the Vision Journal and Biz Planner. And I will also be showing you that also during Vision Week that's happening in the Facebook group. I'm going to be streaming this also inside YouTube as well. And then all roads, again, leading to joining us for the 3-day live experience. And I'll be giving more information about that as well. If you would like to know more, if you'd like to actually sign up for that, it's going to be $97 at the time I'm recording this, and you will get a physical copy of the Vision Journal Biz Planner, plus a digital copy right away, depending upon when you're listening to this. Of course, if it's after that time, you can still access the recordings and still get the planner and journal shipped to you if you're listening to this after the retreat has happened. Yeah, I'm just excited for this. So anyway, I wanted to keep this kind of a shorter episode. I wanted to kick off the new year talking about something that I know it will help you tremendously if you get yourself in the right environment. That's why I'm doing the Vision Week and the Vision Retreat, because the environment really will determine how quickly you implement what you'd like to create for yourself moving forward in 2024 and beyond. So with that said, Happy New Year. If you're listening this way after the new year, thank you for finding the show, and stay tuned for all of the new updates for the new vision that I've created for the new year. And I look forward to hopefully meeting you and seeing you inside the Facebook group and inside the retreat. All righty. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Take care.